Lambda execution role, IAM permissions for Lambda functions. In this video, we'll explore how IAM roles work with AWS Lambda and why they're essential for securing your serverless applications. An execution role is an IAM role that grants your Lambda function permissions to access AWS services and resources. Think of it as an identity card that tells AWS what your Lambda function is allowed to do. Without this role, your function wouldn't be able to interact with other AWS services like DynamoDB, S3, or even write logs to CloudWatch. Lambda functions need execution roles for three main reasons. First, to write logs to CloudWatch Logs so you can monitor and debug your application. Second, to access other AWS services like DynamoDB, S3, or SQS. And third, to follow the principle of least privilege, which means giving only the minimum permissions necessary for the function to do its job. Every execution role has a trust policy that defines who can assume the role. This JSON document specifies that the Lambda service, identified by lambda.amazonos.com, is allowed to assume this role using the SDS assume role action. This trust relationship is what enables Lambda to use the role's permissions when executing your function. AWS provides several managed policies that cover common Lambda scenarios. AWS Lambda Basic Execution Role allows your function to upload logs to CloudWatch Logs. AWS Lambda VPC Access Execution Role is used when your function needs to access resources inside a virtual private cloud. And AWS Lambda DynamoDB Execution Role grants permissions to read records from DynamoDB streams. When managed policies don't cover your specific needs, you can create custom inline policies. This example shows a policy that allows two S3 actions, get object and put object, but only for objects within a specific bucket called myBucket. This demonstrates the principle of least privilege by granting access only to the resources your function actually needs. Let's understand how Lambda uses the execution role. When your function is invoked, Lambda automatically calls SDS assume role on your behalf. This returns temporary security credentials that are valid for the duration of the function execution. Your function then uses these credentials to access AWS services according to the permissions defined in the role. To secure your Lambda functions effectively, follow these best practices. First, grant only the necessary permissions your function needs to operate. Second, use one dedicated role per function or workload rather than sharing roles across multiple functions. And third, monitor your permissions using CloudTrail and IAM Access Analyzer to identify and remove any unused or overly permissive access.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.